Hello, welcome back. Time once again for business news, and our business editor is once again here, Owen Fairclough. Hello again,
Hello,
Owen.
Louise.
Owen, all the talk this morning about a certain new phone.
A certain new phone. It can only be Apple, can't it?
Yep.
The new iPhone, we've had months of speculation about this. Finally, it's arrived. We've got to see what it looks like and what it does. The reaction seems to be evolution, not revolution, really. This is an iPhone without really any new bells and whistles, not that many new gadgets on it. Does it really matter? Well, probably not. iPhones sell by their millions. This one is likely to be no exception. It's been launched just in time for that vital Christmas market.
iPhone 5. It is made entirely of glass and aluminum.
Apple says it's the best phone it's ever made. The new device features a larger screen, a more powerful chip, and faster internet connection. But while Apple is unveiling its brand new iPhone 5, competitors have beaten the California-based firm at its own game. Samsung has the lead in device sales, and Google's Android has become the world's most used mobile operating system.
It's the first launch after Steve Jobs, passed away. So compared to Samsung, for example, Samsung looked more advanced with a bigger screen, with a faster, mobile.
While competition is tough, the iPhone remains a cash cow, making half of the company's revenue and most of its profits.
The beauty of Apple is that they make very large profits, much larger profits than Samsung on their phones. But to be honest, I mean, the smartphone market is big enough to support both Apple and Samsung.
The coming weeks should tell whether the iPhone 5 will satisfy the world's geeks. But the American company is surely counting on those die-hard fans to make the iPhone a device unlike any other.
Well, if you sense just a little bit of scepticism, Louise, with that, you're not far wrong, really. There has been a little bit of a muted reaction to this iPhone. That's not to say that it won't be a success, of course, with those forecasts looking very healthy. If we look at Apple's share price, it's had a phenomenal year. We know the story with Apple. It just keeps going up and up 74% for the year. But this launch happened while Wall Street was trading, and Apple only closed around 1.5% up. So not exactly an explosive reaction to this among investors. But let's not forget, we're talking about the world's most valuable company now by market capitalization. Samsung, if we compare it as well, is no slouch in the smartphone market. It's easy to forget sometimes with all this hype about Apple. Samsung is actually still the biggest seller in terms of the units sold around the world. It's got around 20% of the smartphone market right now, much more than Apple. Its share price as well holding up reasonably well today, up just shy of 0.5% in trading in South Korea.
And the fact is, Samsung is one of very few companies that can actually rival Apple.
Well, that's right. The Samsung Galaxy S3, that's its flagship smartphone. It's the biggest one on the market. It's got the biggest screen. Most people who get it can barely fit it into their pocket. And this has got the wow factor for this product. Also, crucially, perhaps, it's one of the smartphones that isn't likely to be banned under the terms of that patent battle that Apple won, that big court battle we had recently. Apple are seeking to try and have it included as part of an injunction on a range of Samsung products, but that's likely to take months to go through the system. And with that vital Christmas market and those fourth quarter sales, we're likely to see Samsung give Apple perhaps maybe not a run for its money, but certainly some healthy competition.
It's always good for the consumer, healthy competition. So Samsung shares resist the latest Apple onslaught for now. Let's take a look at how the markets are performing overall, Owen.
Yeah, reasonably good day's trade on the Asian markets, with the Nikkei around 0.5% up. We're just about 10 minutes away, just less, from the close of play in Japan. But those are the numbers there for you. You can see just the Shanghai Composite and the Kospi turning a little bit red. I mentioned Samsung shares holding up, but you can see there across the board in South Korea, the numbers just a little bit depressed right now.
And if we look at the US markets, let's just wait for that to come up. There we go. The Nasdaq took the day's spoils, closing around 0.33% up. A steadier day for the S&P, which finished 0.2% up. There we go, that's the markets for you. Well, next, the biggest shake-up of Europe's defence and aerospace sectors in more than a decade. British-owned BAE Systems and EADS, the owner of Airbus, are in talks to create an industry giant. Well, if the deal does go through, the merged company could be worth around €40 billion.
Taking the defence and aerospace industry to new heights. The merger of BAE Systems and EADS would be the biggest in the sector in more than a decade. Company bosses say talks are advanced between BAE, a UK firm and Europe's biggest defence contractor, and EADS, Europe's largest aerospace consortium. Their plan to create an industry giant. With combined sales of €70 billion, it'd be bigger than US rival Boeing and employ more than 200,000 people. Although the new company would have a sole management team, it would remain dual-listed, with EADS owning 60%, BAE 40%. The merger would consolidate to each company's strengths, matching BAE's key operations in the US and Saudi Arabia with EADS's operations in Europe and Asia. It's an important increase in market reach at a time when government defence budgets are being slashed. However, the merger is not a done deal. The US government, BAE's biggest defence customer, may seek safeguards that their military development isn't compromised. There's got to be approval too from competitions commissions and key shareholders like the French government before the merger gets off the ground.
In other news, the world's top platinum miner has shut down its main operation in South Africa because of fears of violence against its workers. Anglo America suspended work at its mines in Rustenburg, close to the Lonmin plant, where 45 people were killed during a wildcat strike last month. The company says its staff were being intimidated on their way to work.
And a bidding war is underway for the Asian brewer that makes Tiger beer. Thai Beverage and its partners already own 30% of Singapore's Fraser and Neave Group, but has made a $7.1 billion offer for the rest. The offer was announced as F&N's board meet to discuss another bid worth $4.5 billion from Heineken for Asia Pacific Breweries, the subsidiary that makes Tiger beer.
Now, just before we go, if you're watching us and getting ready for retirement, consider this. Would you want to keep on working until you're 100 years old? Well, take a look at this. Lauren Wade, Walmart, 29 years of service, America's outstanding oldest worker for 2012. He's just been named. Now, the annual award is given out by the non-profit Experience Works to raise awareness about older Americans' contributions to the workforce.
I know I'm getting older because there's things I can't do, like lift a 50-pound sack of dog food, and they won't let me climb a ladder because I've stepped off of one and broke my hip, so they won't let me on the ladder anymore.
So he says he can't lift a 50-pound sack of dog food at the age of 100. I still think it's pretty good going, don't you, to be able to
I think he's utterly fabulous. But talking about retirement, Owen, it is your last ever business section with me. And in fact, in this time slot at France 24, you're leaving us.
It is indeed. It is my last day. I'm not quite taking retirement, kind of retirement at least from France 24. But yeah, time to move on after 4 years.
Do you have a favourite moment yet that you can bring to mind? Apart from working with me, clearly.
Apart from being on set with you, Louise, I can't think of one to mind, actually.
Well, I have to tell you, Owen's been very good, even though it's him that's leaving and we should be buying him presents. He actually arrived at work at the obscene hour of 4 a.m. this morning with bags full of goodies, chocolates and cakes. So he's a good and right to the very last minute. But it's been great working with you. Thank you. OK, on that sappy note, we're going to leave it before we start breaking out into tears. But do stay tuned. Stuart Norville coming up in just a couple of minutes.